Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Black Knights Weekly. I'm Nick DeSanctis, bringing you along for a closer look inside athletics here at West Point. Today we'll talk to the sprint football team captain, talk to an Army coach who spent some time in Moscow this summer, and head over to Clinton Field for night school. First up today is our Army one-on-one. Troy Engel is the head coach of the cross country and the track and field teams here at Army with a very extensive resume. He's coached on the international level as well and did just that this summer as an assistant coach for Team USA at the World Games. It was the topic of conversation in this week's Army one-on-one.
I've had a couple of stints on different national teams over the years, going all the way back to about 1995 with the World Indoor Track and Field Championships with the national team at that point in time. Last time was 2011. I was in a very similar situation as the men's endurance coach at the Pan American Games. And then when discussion came up at the last annual meeting to pick a world championship coaching staff, I was lucky enough to have been nominated and selected by the International Competition Committee of USA Track and Field. It was obviously the pinnacle of a career. The greatest track meets in the world at any given time are the World Championships and the Olympic Games. And so to have been at an Olympic Games in an Olympic stadium that we'd never had an opportunity to have a national track and field team compete in, because the last major international team competition in the Olympic Stadium was in 1980 and we weren't there, was quite an experience. The team itself, you know, we're on an upswing as a national team, and particularly in the events that I had the privilege of working with. So to be able to go over and have the caliber of athletes that I had an opportunity to interact with day in and day out, and to help them achieve their goals was a remarkable experience. You know, it's made me appreciate the kind of kids that we get here at West Point, because I think when I went, particularly the World Championships, I went over trying to figure out what the differences were. What was I going to be able to glean from the experience that I could help kind of pull our athletes up that 3 to 5% and help some of them eventually get to the world-class level and have an opportunity to compete at that level. And the longer I was there and the longer I worked with those athletes, I realized that there, in some cases, are differences in talent. I mean, there's no question that an athlete that competes at the World Championship level is an awfully talented, genetically gifted specimen. But in terms of attitude and approach and professionalism and the way that those athletes approach their day-to-day training, very, very comparable to the way that a cadet approaches his day-to-day life activities. You know, I think the leadership education of West Point impresses upon students the importance of being diligent, of taking ownership of your own preparation, of learning from your mistakes, of always striving to take care of the small things that can make the incremental difference between success and failure. And those are the exact same ingredients that world-class athletes have mastered. So we really are one of the best laboratories for preparation for world-class leaders, whether it's on the field of friendly strife or the fields of battle or in the business world. And so I think one of the greatest lessons that I learned coming back was a great appreciation for my own team. And I realized that there's not anything that I'm going to be able to do that's really going to pull them up to the higher level. It's just to kind of continue to reinforce the curricular lessons that they're learning here. You know, I've always felt like intercollegiate athletics at a place like West Point was very much a co-curricular activity. The lessons that we try to teach on the fields of friendly strife are very valuable experiences that can be easily transferred to their chosen career. Troy Engel, head coach of men's and women's track and field and cross country.
Next up, we'll head down to Clinton Field, home of the Army men's and women's soccer programs, as we learn how to use your hands in a game for your feet in this week's night school.
I'm Tommy Yeager, I'm number 3, I'm a junior this year, and I play for the Army men's soccer team. Yeah, Sean! Yeah. I'll be teaching you on how to do a throw-in. So after you get the ball from the ball boy, you want to come over, you want to set your feet, Making sure you're not crossing the line. Make sure your feet don't go off the ground. You want to make eye contact with the player you're playing with. Take the ball with both hands, bring it over your head, make sure both your feet are planted, make sure both arms stay in contact with the ball, and you step into it and release the ball. And that's how you do a throw-in. Sean, yes, Sean!
The Sprint football team returns to action on Friday night as they'll take on Penn at Shea Stadium to open up the 2013 season. The team took home the national championship trophy in 2012 and returns a good core on defense. One of those is a senior outside linebacker, this week's Cadet Spotlight, Thomas White.
It's definitely a different experience as far as being captain, and then as being captain of a championship team from last year. A lot of responsibility, mostly just a lot of expectations to meet as a team, and then it's my job to take coach's vision and put that into practice with the team and make sure we accomplish all our goals. So definitely a challenging but so far rewarding experience. Played outside linebacker / defensive end in high school, so it wasn't that hard to transition in sprint. It's actually a little bit easier because everyone's my size now. Strength from position to position is the exact same, so everyone is a lot more technically sound at what they do. Then you can get away with a lot when you're a lot bigger. So you have to be very good at your position to do well. So far, my focus in the spring and this season has been my pass rushing. I want to get a lot more sacks this year, and it's something the D-line we've all focused on, is applying pressure to the quarterback without having to blitz. I feel like that would help out the secondary, help out the linebackers. So that's been my big focus and also the D-line's focus. Bill locker room, it's just a lot of pent-up emotion, ready to go. Like we've been getting after it the last couple of weeks, so we're just ready to go. Like that's kind of the bottom line, is everyone's really excited, a lot of energy, ready to just unleash on a different colored jersey. We're kind of sick of just hitting the same guys every day in practice, so want to knock someone else out. I always wanted to go here. I always felt a fit where my values matched up with the values of the school, and that's something I really looked for when I was looking for university and then a job afterwards. And I want to lead troops in combat, and this is the best place for me to get the experience and knowledge I need. Thomas White, sprint football, defensive end, class of 2014.
Lastly today, we hand the microphone off to the men's soccer team for 15 seconds with Army Athletics.
Come out after Army beats Stanford in football and support the Army men's soccer team as we take on Fordham at 7:30 p.m. right here at Clinton Field. Go Army!
Thanks for watching this week's edition of Black Knights Weekly. Remember to like the Black Knights across all of your social media platforms, and for the latest news, scores, and information, visit GoArmySports.com. Until next time, for Night Vision, I'm Nick DeSanctis. Go Army!